Hi everyone, and welcome to the Burnt Brass Homestead channel. This video is for the sisters. Are you guys storing pads in the event these items are in short supply? The last thing you need to worry about is your menstrual cycle during difficult times, especially young girls just starting their menstrual cycle. So today I show you how easy it is to make reusable menstrual pads. I am a true novice at best in sewing, making only a pillow and pajama pants. I say this to encourage anyone to try this project. You do not need to be a seamstress to make reusable pads. Before I get started, just give you a rundown of the supplies that I have. This panty liner I got offline for free, and it was at the ecofriendlyfamily.com website. And I just cut this out. Now, I also drew this inner line here. So basically what she has you do is cut out just this inner piece here, and then cut out a second cutout with the wings. So I wanted the core to be a little smaller, so that's why I just, as best as I could, created this outline. In addition to that, I created another outline. So this is the outline that I created, and I had cut it out, and then I created another outline in this. Now I didn't actually use this second outline, but if I wanted to try another pad that was a little thicker, then I can have two pieces to fit the cord. So I actually did not use this other cutout, although you'll see it in the video. I basically stuck with this here. This is not in the video at all, but I did download this. I probably won't use this because this isn't necessarily something I need, but I wanted to download this for you, for those of you who may need a larger pad. This is just 2 sheets folded to make this a little thicker, so I can reuse this. This is the core that I use, and this is just terry cloth. And you can get something called like French terry that isn't as messy, but I bought this for extremely cheap and on sale at Joann. So you can use this. Some people use bamboo. It's up to you, but for right now, just get whatever is the cheapest for you, practice on that, and then explore. Here is just a salad cotton color. And this is flannel. This is supposed to be 100% cotton flannel. And this is what I use as what they call the topper. And this is the part that you see and the part that will go against your body. This is the part that will actually go on the under pad, and it will help with friction so it doesn't move as much on the panty. And this is the core that will be inside these 2 fabrics, and I'll go over that. And the last piece of fabric I used was something called Pull, P-U-L, and that's polyurethane. The shiny side is the waterproof, and that's what's going to fit flush against the solid fabric. And actually the very last thing is this cam set. Now you don't have to buy this if you don't want to. I think I paid $20 for this set. If you guys are really on a budget, you can use Velcro if that's what you have. Now all this material, this flannel, this is what I already had. I made some pajama pants out of this. So I just reused this. I did not purchase this. This is some old material. So if you have old cotton material that you can use, then by all means try to use that. And then the pull is what I did actually get from Joann. And I got this on sale. There was a spot on it, not that it really mattered. So I got an additional discount off of that. And Joann normally runs coupons all the time. So I got an additional 40% off of that. So all together, all this, the pull and this terry, I paid less than $20. I think it was like $18 for this. And out of this, these are each a yard. And out of this, I can probably make, I don't know, 20 if not more. After downloading or making your own pad template, make the outline on the terry cloth. This will be the material, the core, that soaks up the flow. Here I make 2 outlines, but I only use 1 because I did not need a thick pad. If you have a heavy flow, you would cut the 2 pads, as you see here, and sew them together. Then you would sew them to the topper. Use pins to keep the material from moving when the top part of the pad and the core are sewn together. Now I sew the core material to the topper. I go very slow since the material is stretchy and there are several curves. Anytime I see bunching, I will lift the foot to smooth out the material, and I would do the same on some of the turns. This is very flexible material and it should move with the body, making it comfortable to wear. Next, I place the pull fabric shiny side down and the backer material on top of that. Since this is a solid color material, the side does not matter, but if it had designs, you will place the pretty side facing up. Next, I put the core and topper fabric that was sewn together on top of the pull and backer fabrics. Now, this may not appear to look right at first glance, but the fabric will be turned right side out after everything is sewn together. This time I am careful not to pin behind the red line. This is the sew line, and this is where the waterproof pull material is, so I do not want to poke any holes in it. This area where I am marking will be where the fabric is turned right side out. So I will sew all the way around the fabric, leaving this area open. Now I sew all of the fabrics together: the topper, the core, the pull, and the backer. I go all the way around the red line. This is why we do not cut directly on the red line, because that is the sew line. And you leave anywhere between 1/4 of an inch to an inch, depending on what's comfortable for you. I take my time and I lift the foot if I see any bunching to smooth it out. I also lift the foot to make the turns around the curves. After I sewed the fabrics together, leaving the hole to pull the fabric right side out, now it's time to cut all of the excess fabric. I cut within 1/4 of an inch from the sew line. You can use pinking shears if you have them, and this just helps keep the material, the edges, from fraying, or regular scissors. In this case, I just use regular scissors because that's what most people have. In hindsight, I should not have left the gap in that little corner right there, the little divot. That made it difficult to sew after the fabric was turned right side out. I also didn't leave enough material to tuck in after I turned the fabric right side out. This also made it difficult to close the hole. So now I clean up any extra loose pieces of thread, and then I cut little slits in the corners. That way it doesn't bunch up once the fabric is turned right side out. Now take your time as to not rip the thread when you're turning the fabric right side out. I didn't mention back stitching, but I explain this when I make the second pad. Use a narrow but blunt object if you need to force the fabric edges all the way out once you turn the fabric right side out. Now it's time to seal up the hole and sew all the way around the fabric once again, leaving about 1/4 inch from the edge. For those of you extremely new to sewing, typically when you start to sew, you do a forward stitch, then you back stitch, a few times and then you come back forward, and this secures your initial start. And you do the same thing at the end of your stitch. When you come to a stop, you back stitch a little bit and then come back forward. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, I'm a novice at sewing. Now it's time to correct some of my mistakes. I share them here so that you do not make them. To start, we cut out all the fabric in the shape of the pad template. I'm using all of the same fabric, but with different colors, different color backer and a different color topper. Once we trace and cut the patterns, then we iron both cotton pieces. To remove any wrinkles, thus making it easier to sew. Pin the core terry cloth to the topper material and sew all the way around the red line. If you have a heavy flow, you can use 2 pieces of terry cloth or whatever core you're using, and then sew to the topper. Now I pin all of the fabrics together. I lay the shiny side of the pull material face down. Then I place the backer on top of that. Remember, pretty side up if you have patterns on your material. Then the topper and core go on top of that, and the pretty side is face down. This time I make my markings to pull the fabric right side out on a straight edge as opposed to in the corner. And it's better to start the stitching at one of these markings, go all the way around and stop once you reach the other. Now remove any extra thread and cut around the perimeter of the pad, leaving a 1/4 inch spacing. Leave a little bit more material or fabric where the opening is, so it'll be easier to tuck in and sew. Again, make little slits close to the thread in the corners of the pad, but be very careful not to cut the thread. Use a narrow but blunt object to push the fabric all the way out once you turn it right side out. As you can see, I now have enough fabric to tuck in the opening, making it easier to seal. I press the material with the iron, and then I stitch all the way around the perimeter of the pad, leaving about a 1/4 inch. And there you have it. In less than an hour, I was able to make 2 lightweight reusable menstrual pads. The purple pad was my practice pad. I had never done this before. And the second one was to correct some of the mistakes that I made on the first try. The final step is to add the button using the cam snaps. There is a backing that attaches to the front male and front female part. Using the cam press, I attach these pieces to the pad, thus allowing them to snap together and hold in place. I really hope you found this video useful. If so, please share this video and channel so that it may grow. Also leave a comment if you plan on making a reusable menstrual pad for yourself or someone else, and let me know how it turns out.